Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with episode number 11 of our Eibar career mode, closing out the season and starting the next one. So this episode's going to be a little shorter. I think it's going to come out to about 12 or 13 minutes, obviously compared to my 20 to 30 minute episodes that I've been putting out recently. But as you're going to see, we have one more game left in La Liga. I was actually thinking that I had a few more games to go before we were going to see the end of the first season. That's why I was saying I think I still had a chance to get up into the Europa League. But the Europa League was not possible from our position, obviously, but we still obviously wanted to put everything into this last match and hopefully move up a couple places in the rankings. So our last game is against Espanyol. Um, Good squad, definitely going to be a good challenge for us here in the last game. Definitely wanted to put in, I wouldn't say my strongest squad necessarily, but a squad strong enough to definitely put up a good fight and definitely give some of my players, I guess, their last run out in the squad, like obviously our striker. Definitely want to give him a couple more goals by the end of the season so that if we do not re-sign him, we still obviously can get him the Golden Boot in Spain, which surprisingly, I guess you could say, would be that I guess the 18 or 19 goals that he's going to end on is going to actually be enough to get him the Golden Boot. You know, playing in a league with Ronaldo, Messi, Neymar, Suarez, Benzema, Bale, you would think more goals would be coming out and there would actually be like 30 goals you would need to actually get the Golden Boot. But it was definitely a weird first season here, all the way around for all the clubs. Real Madrid still obviously fighting for maybe a Champions League spot, but most likely a Europa League spot. And obviously Barcelona and Atletico Madrid just running away with things at the top of the table. We had a little bit of a disappointing season, to say the least. I mean, I definitely wanted to push higher in the table, but starting with the squad that we had, I think we ended pretty well. And the second season is definitely going to be telling to see how much progression we really can do in this next transfer window. So, not getting ahead of ourselves too much, Iheanacho, as you're going to see, goes down in the box. I did play Hajrovic on the right instead of at striker in this game because I still wanted to get him in, but I also wanted Iheanacho to play in the last game of the season. But even though Iheanacho earned the penalty, I decided to give it to Hajrovic, giving him his maybe final goal for the team, as he is going back to Werder Bremen, I want to say, is his home club. So he goes back obviously after the end of this season, and wasn't too sure if I was going to be able to get an opportunity to re-sign him. He's definitely going to be pretty expensive, especially with how well he progressed. Right here at the end of the first half, you're going to see Iheanacho just runs through the defense, beautiful ball in, and a nice near post shot to go ahead and close out the first half with a 2-0 win. So definitely put me in a good spot. I was glad that we were dominating as much as we were for the last game of the season, going out on a high note, especially with some of these players, obviously, like I said, playing their last game. I believe I get Bergeron on in a little bit later in this episode as well. Just kind of like I said, wanted to get those players in to play their last game for the club. So going into the next season, obviously we're going to be looking for possibly another striker, another winger, to replace Hajrovic and have another player in place of Kappa. On that right wing side, I do believe that I am going to keep Inui on the left, but not to say that I won't try to go after somebody to create a little more competition in that position as well. Defense is going to be the big focus point, especially with me losing Dos Santos after this season. I was originally going to re-sign him, but he wanted 30K a week, and I just really wasn't willing to spend that much on him because he hasn't been performing well for me at all. So we are going to be losing him at the end of this season as well, and obviously Pantic, however you want to say his name, he was on loan, so we're going to be losing both of them, and we're actually only going to have one center back at the start of next season. So we're definitely going to have to be looking at one or two more signings for center back, maybe bring a couple players in on loan for all the positions. Um, Obviously, want to bring in a right back. I have my eye on a couple players. Originally, I was going to go after Hector Bellerin, but I don't know if I want to pay the money to actually get him in, especially with the amount of other options out there. And everybody always goes after Hector Bellerin, so I think I'm just going to leave that one, and then I'm actually going to go after. There's the right back out of Barcelona. His name is Douglas. He's definitely a rising star. He's not an incredible right back. I think his potential on Foothead is 78. Obviously, you can move that up as much as you want with training. So hopefully I can get him to around an 80. But he's definitely a good short-term and starting off right back that I need. Probably going to sell off one of my left backs and a few other players to kind of help things out. You guys are going to see a lot of training sessions here. A lot of the same training sessions, just going through, trying to get my players as high as I can. Here's the finishing table. Barcelona does win the league by 1 point over Atletico Madrid. Real Madrid manages to squeak by with a Europa League placing, although I'm pretty sure they deserved to be in the Champions League by goal difference, so I'm not entirely sure how that's going to play out for them. I believe Bayern won the Champions League. Yes, they won the Champions League, and obviously, like I said, Hajrovic took the Golden Boot. Definitely going to be disappointing to lose him, but as I have recorded a couple episodes ahead, I can tell you guys that we're not going to be able to re-sign Hajrovic on loan or on a permanent deal. They're just asking for a little bit too much money that I'm just not capable of spending on one player right now. Just going through a little bit of this off-season stuff, you're going to see obviously some of these youth players that I'm looking at. My youth squad is turning out pretty well. Everybody's kind of in that high 70s to mid-range 90 potential, so it's definitely going to be exciting seeing those players grow. I probably should have spent the off-season, in all honesty, training my youth squad, but I did definitely want to try to get my starting squad and youth players that I already have signed to progress a little bit more. I will be putting Villalba on loan. I think I'm only going to put him on a 1-year loan instead of a 2-year loan. As I said, you guys are just going to see these training sessions, a lot of the same training sessions, just trying to get everybody's rating up as high as possible. Iheanacho growing pretty well with his finishing. Definitely want to focus on that, especially with the pace that he has and everything. It's going to be good to have him at about an 80-plus finishing rate by the start of the next season. And we'll definitely put him at a good starting point to grow a lot at the end of the season. I forgot to do a squad report at the end of this season, so I do look at it a little bit at the start of the next season, but obviously you don't see the actual growth for the players. My keeper, I believe, grew 4 or 5 points in the by the end of the off season. Iheanacho grew, I want to say, 6 points, and will also grow a little bit at the start of next season. As you see from the league or from the board, they said I had a super season. Not in my opinion, but the board did only want me to finish mid-table and get decently far in the cup. So, I mean, I did what they wanted me to, but it was a little disappointing for me personally to not achieve what I wanted to. Going into the preseason of the next season, just looking at a couple cups that we got invited to, we are going to be doing the one in Italy. I think it gives us the best chance to win and get the biggest prize pool out of it. So I come into this not too focused. I mean, yes, I want a little bit more transfer budget, but I think I start this season with about 16 mil to spend and about 50K in wages. You guys will see that in a second. But so that gave me a good amount of playing room, and then obviously adding that couple million will also definitely help me. But as I said, you guys saw the squad right there. It's definitely a lot stronger of a squad at the start of this season than last season. Obviously, we just need to add in those couple center backs to help us out. So a little bit more training here. Nothing too crazy. As I saw, I was growing with Iheanacho so much with finishing. I still wanted to get his headers up because his headers are really disappointing right now. So definitely wanted to do that. I do simulate all of the preseason matches because they're kind of exciting for me to play, but I know they're not exciting to watch. This right mid that I get from Dortmund, not really a high potential player, just a high pace player that Dortmund have that put on the transfer market. So I go ahead and try to do an even swap with him and my center attacking mid, Ara Bueno, I think is his name, the 31-year-old legend of Eibar. He's been in the club for a while, but do want to go ahead and move him on just to kind of get another player in. He's a younger player, around 23 years old, so definitely wanted to get him into the squad as a super sub. He'll be good to bring in on the right or left, just to add a little bit more pace into the squad. Obviously not a player that's going to grow too much, but as of right now, just a good super sub to have. So coming into the second game, we do tie against Caligari. So between this match and the next one, we do a little bit more training. Iheanacho growing incredibly. I do throw in my youth right back, just kind of trying to get him to grow a little bit because I wasn't too sure who I was going to bring in for that right back position. So I wanted to try to train him as much as I could so that I could sign him in the future on a pro contract and have a backup right back if need be. But as I said, I was going to go after Douglas. I tried to go after Hector Bellerin, just didn't work out. Like I said, as you guys are going to see here, the Douglas transfer goes through for a decent amount of money. Only spending 2 mil on a right back definitely works out well for me. That West Brom transfer, trying to go after trying to go after a player there, but it just didn't really work out well for me, which was kind of understandable. Like I said, I didn't want to spend too much money on one player, so I wasn't going to break the bank on a player that I didn't think was really going to help me out too much. If I break the bank, it's definitely going to be a player that I know for sure is going to help me in the squad. So Douglas here, the main reason I wanted to sign him over Hector Bellerin was the fact that I only had to spend 2 mil to bring him in from Barcelona, and his contract as well was only going to cost me 35k a week, so definitely an easy player to bring in for the squad. Went ahead and gave him Crucial and then dropped that down to 25k a week because obviously he was future first team player, so I thought I could kind of work with that a little bit more and try to get him into the squad at a little bit cheaper of a wage, at least for now. So as you guys are going to see, obviously I don't have to have Luna in the squad anymore. Unica picked up a red card in that last match, so we did have to bring in another player to play in that position. So I actually moved Lilo out to right back and then bring in Ruben Neves to play at center back because, like I said, my defense was lacking. I only had one actual right out center back at this time. So honestly, probably should have signed a center back a little bit earlier on, but I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't too worried about these preseason matches. Just wanted to see if I could bring in a little bit more transfer budget as I was trying to make some of these signings. So coming into this last match of the group stages, I really just needed a draw. A win would be great. I just needed a draw to come out on top. So we do end up with a 1-1 draw, Iheanacho picking up a goal. So we progress into these semifinals. We already go ahead and pick up $1 million for getting into the semifinals match, and then we would move on into the semifinals match. I am going to save that and the final for the next episode, so I am going to end it here. I hope you guys did enjoy this episode. Like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you guys don't miss the next episode of this series or my League of Champions series that I'm doing every other day. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.